Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to True Crime Tuesdays. Yes, every Tuesday I will be covering different true crime stories from all around the world. Don't worry, there will still be plenty of horror on this channel as well. But in today's first episode, I am covering a story that literally doesn't sound real. We are exploring the harrowing tale of the survival of Mary Vincent, a courageous young woman who endured a horrific attack at the hands of this sick and twisted individual called Lawrence Singleton. This story is both heartbreaking and inspiring, and also a testament to the resilience and strength of the human spirit. Please be advised though that the following does contain graphic descriptions of violence and it may not be suitable for all viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Now let's start at the beginning, because we've got Mary Vincent, who was a 15-year-old high school student living in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now Mary, she was filled with dreams and aspirations common to many teenagers, and Mary loved to dance and envisioned a future as a professional dancer. This spirited personality and unwavering determination set her apart, making her a beloved figure amongst her peers. However, like many teenagers, Mary did face personal challenges and she decided to run away from her family. Now, with her being a free-spirited nature and a desire for change, she hitchhiked from Las Vegas, embarking on a journey to visit her grandfather in Corona, California, hoping for a fresh start and a new beginning. Now, when we fast forward, on September the 29th, 1978, Mary decided she wanted to go home, and she ended up standing on the side of a road in Berkeley, California with her thumb out, hoping for a hitchhike ride to her next destination to get her home. Now that day, she encountered Lawrence Singleton, a man driving a blue van. Now, Lawrence Singleton was then 51 years old, and he appeared to be a kind and harmless looking man just offering a ride. Now, despite warnings from other hitchhikers who sensed danger, Mary accepted his offer, trusting this seemingly grandfatherly figure without realizing the peril that lay ahead. You see, back then it was a very different time. Hitchhiking was the norm, and that particular day when Mary was standing on the side of the road holding her sign with a load of other hitchhikers, Mary actually befriended one of them, and they came to realize that they were going to the same destination. So when Lawrence ended up pulling up in his van, they all assumed, oh, we can all fit in his van. However, when Lawrence arrived, he said that only one of them can jump in the van. This is why the other hitchhikers sensed the danger, and although the other hitchhikers warned Mary against going alone with this man, Mary was absolutely exhausted. She just wanted to get home, and Lawrence at that moment in time seemed harmless, so she accepted the ride. Now, while on the road, everything seemed fine at first, but after a few hours of driving, Mary became increasingly uneasy because Lawrence's whole demeanour just shifted from friendly to a little bit sinister and strange, and she sensed something was gravely wrong. At one point, Lawrence was driving the wrong way, and Mary would have to tell him that he's going in the wrong direction. Lawrence would then make his excuses and just say, oh, I just made a wrong turn. So with Mary also being exhausted as she was, she ended up falling asleep. Now when Mary woke up later on, she discovered that Lawrence was actually driving in a completely different direction, and things started to get very scary. Mary knew that she was in serious trouble and that she really needs to try and escape this situation. Lawrence ended up telling Mary that he needed to go for a pee, and Mary then starts to think to herself, okay, this might be the opportunity that when he stops the car and gets out for a wee, I can literally make a run for it. So Lawrence ended up stopping the van under the pretense of needing to relieve himself. Mary took this opportunity to tie her shoelaces to get ready to run. But As she stepped out of the vehicle, Lawrence ended up hitting her over the head with a sledgehammer type of weapon in a brutal and unprovoked act of violence. Mary was completely knocked out, but when she eventually woke up, she found herself being raped and sexually assaulted by Lawrence, and this went on for hours and hours. And Mary has actually spoken about this herself in multiple interviews, which you can find here on YouTube, and all she kept on thinking was that she wanted to die. She'd be staring up, looking out the window, looking at the sky, trying to ignore what was happening to her, but she just wanted to die. She wanted this horror just to stop. And that on its own is just absolutely unthinkable. But things actually get a lot worse. Hours later, Mary pleaded with Lawrence to basically let her free, set her free, and she will keep quiet. She won't go to the police. So Lawrence then did something so shocking and so evil. In an attempt to prevent Mary from identifying him, Lawrence severed both of Mary's arms below the elbow with a hatchet. A deliberate, sadistic act carried out while Mary was fully conscious. It all happened so fast, Mary didn't know what had happened at first, not until the pain hit her. How can one human being be so sick and evil? It's just beyond me. He then threw her down a 30-foot ravine, leaving her naked and bleeding to die in the hopes that nobody will find her. He even covered Mary with dirt, leaves and branches to try and conceal her body before driving off. Now, you would think that this is the end for Mary. I mean, she's had both of her arms severed with a crazy amount of blood pouring out and then being thrown down a 30-foot ravine and left to die. You'd think she's got no chance of surviving this. Well, this story ain't over. Despite the unimaginable pain and trauma, Mary Vincent's will to survive was nothing short of miraculous. With her arms severed and her body in shock, she summoned every ounce of strength and determination that she had. In her mind, she didn't want another poor girl to go through what she has already gone through. And miraculously, she managed to climb back up this 30-foot cliff using sheer willpower, pressing her bleeding stumps into the dirt to try and slow the bleeding. She ended up walking 3 miles, 3 freaking miles, guy, naked, bleeding, in pain, and of course, in shock. Now, the first car that passed her on the road didn't stop for her, but you gotta remember, Mary is naked, she was missing her arm, so do you know what? God knows what was going through that, first driver's mind, but this didn't stop Mary's determination. She then encountered a second passing motorist who immediately stopped and rushed her to the hospital, saving her life. Now, Mary's survival is not only physically miraculous, but also psychologically extraordinary. Mary's survival is a testament to her incredible strength and unyielding determination. In the hospital, Mary immediately worked with the police to help identify and find her attacker. She insisted on postponing sleep to finish creating a composite sketch for the investigators. It wasn't long until Mary's immediate identification of Lawrence Singleton led to his arrest and conviction. Now, despite the severity and the brutality of his crime, Lawrence Singleton was sentenced to only 14 years in prison. 1-4, guys. Apparently, this was the maximum sentence allowed at the time, and a lot of people at the time deemed it shockingly lenient and a bit of a miscarriage of justice, which I 100% agree with. What makes this, even worse is that Lawrence was freed from prison in 1987 after serving just 8 years of his 14-year sentence, despite massive public protests against his release. Now, Lawrence ended up moving back to Florida, where in 1997, so a decade later, He murdered a mother of 3, Roxanne Hayes, in Sulphur Springs. Lawrence stabbed Roxanne multiple times in her upper body until she was dead. Now Mary, she travelled from California to Tampa to appear at Lawrence's trial and sentencing, and during her testimony she described Lawrence's attack, and also the toll and the ordeal that had taken on her. And on February the 20th, 1998, the jury found Lawrence guilty, and on April the 14th, 1998, the judge sentenced him to death. Which in my opinion should have happened straight away after Mary's attack, or at the very least never ever released from prison. Now Lawrence ended up dying in 2001 of cancer in a prison hospital at the North Florida Reception Center. So the monster is dead, thank goodness, but the murder of Roxanne really could have been avoided had Lawrence not been allowed back out in society and into the public domain. People like that should just never ever be released. So back over to Mary now, because Mary's life was forever changed by this attack, but her courage and resilience has since inspired many people. She underwent numerous surgeries and rehabilitations, learning to use prosthetic arms and reclaiming her independence. Mary became a powerful advocate for victims' rights, using her harrowing experience to help others facing similar adversities. She continues to live a life marked by resilience and determination, finding ways to reclaim her dreams and pursue her passion for art, ultimately using her creativity as a form of healing and expression, and I just think that is incredible. Now, this case of Mary Vincent not only highlighted the inadequacies of the legal system, but also instigated a broader societal conversation about how to handle violent offenders. Her story became a catalyst for change, leading to the eventual revision of sentencing laws, particularly in California. The outrage over Singleton's early release galvanized support for stricter sentencing laws, such as the Singleton Bill, which aimed to ensure longer sentences for violent crimes. Mary's story is a profound reminder of the strength and resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. Her bravery in identifying her attacker and her relentless fight for justice serves as an inspiration to countless others who face seemingly similar challenges, which doesn't even bear thinking about. I mean, her legacy lives on in the continued fight for victims' rights and the push for a more just and compassionate legal system. What an incredible woman. Thank you for joining me today with this first episode of True Crime Tuesdays with Craig. If you found Mary Vincent's story compelling, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Remember guys, stay safe, stay vigilant, and be supportive of those in need. Thank you all for watching today guys. I'll see you all in my next video.